At a neighborhood cookout, my grandmother announced loudly, "Your car loan's cleared now. 12 grand's a hefty sum, but you're worth every penny." I froze. "Grandma," I said, "I don't own a car." The chatter at the table hushed. Just then, my sister strolled in, jingling a shiny new key fob. I stayed silent. 2 hours later, I checked my banking app and saw the truth. Then, Grandma pulled a folder from her bag and slid it across the table without meeting anyone's eyes. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed relentlessly with texts from every relative. It was meant to be a laid-back afternoon. Grilled burgers, iced tea, folding chairs scattered on a lawn still fragrant with fresh mulch. A simple barbecue, nothing extravagant, the kind where you bring a soda and leave with bug bites and a sunburned neck. I wasn't expecting a scene. I showed up to be there, maybe flip a burger, chat with the kids, and blend into the background like always. I wasn't aiming to stir things up, just to be present. Then Grandma spoke, boldly, joyfully, like she was raising a glass in celebration. "Your car loan's cleared now. 12 grand's a hefty sum, but you're worth every penny." The laughter around the table didn't fade. It stalled. I blinked. "Grandma, I don't own a car." Quiet. She looked puzzled, then darted her eyes to her left, a fleeting spark of unease. Right then, my sister walked in, waving a new key fob like she'd hit the jackpot. The chrome gleamed red. She grinned, oblivious to the moment. No one spoke. Not my mom, who was cutting fruit. Not my dad, who stared at his plate like it held secrets. Not even my cousin Brian, who always had a quip for everything. Everyone just shifted. That's when I knew. It wasn't a mistake I wasn't supposed to find out. I wasn't supposed to question. They'd opened the account in my name without a word to me. They figured I wouldn't notice, or that I'd let it slide like always. Smile, nod, say I'm happy for her, and keep giving. I didn't argue. I didn't confront. I just stood there, skin tingling in the summer heat, and sat back down like nothing happened. 2 hours later, while everyone was inside chuckling at a video on the big screen I'd gifted last Christmas, I opened my banking app. Approved. $12,000 paid off. In my name. I didn't say anything. My hands stayed steady. My face didn't tense. I closed the app, noted the date, took a screenshot of the approval. When I looked up, Grandma was approaching. No smile now. She avoided my gaze. She reached into her bag, pulled out a thick manila folder, and slid it across the table without a word. Inside were documents, dealership forms, contracts, insurance papers. All signed. By me. Except I hadn't signed anything. That night, at 2:03 a.m., my phone erupted with notifications. 15 texts, 6 missed calls, and a voicemail from my sister starting with, "Please don't do anything rash, okay?" I didn't respond. I'd already done something worse than rash. I'd gone quiet. The folder sat on my counter for 3 days. Untouched. At first, I left it there like some ominous artifact, challenging me to revisit it. On the third night, sleepless, I opened it again. That's when the pattern emerged. It wasn't just the car. It was the utility bill from last fall, the one my mom called a system error when I noticed a double charge. It was the extra streaming account my dad didn't realize I was still covering even after I deleted their profiles. It was the $500 deposit for my sister's kid's school, just temporary, except they never repaid it, never mentioned it again. I cross-checked the dates, matched the charges. Every favor became a habit. Every dollar I paid became an assumption. Every time I didn't push back, it became consent. I wasn't family. I was a resource. Used financially, emotionally. The worst part? They knew it. Grandma's folder held the proof, literal and metaphorical. Dealership records, insurance policies, my financial details, pages of audacious moves built on exploited trust and fabricated familiarity. I flipped to the final page and saw my signature, lifted from an old form I'd signed for a college internship, clumsily traced onto a loan agreement. They hadn't even bothered to cover their tracks. Why would they? I was the dependable one, the quiet one, the one who wouldn't make waves. Memories hit like lightning. The birthday I wasn't invited to because the venue only seated 10, but my bank statement showed a $600 catering charge. The wedding where I paid for the decor and wasn't mentioned in the program. The family trip where I covered the rental house and got a thank you text meant for someone else. Every memory reshaped itself, not as isolated slights, but as points in a long, silent betrayal. They didn't love me less. They valued what I provided more than who I was, and I'd allowed it. I let them call me fortunate to be included. I let them laugh when I offered help. Because helping was the only way they accepted me. But now the truth was undeniable. On paper, they'd spent $12,000 in my name, bought a car, handed my sister the keys, and smiled like it was a gift, because they assumed I'd do what I always did: pay, fade away, and wait for gratitude that never arrived. This time, they'd misjudged. This time, I'd seen it all. That night, I logged into every account I had, changed every password, froze every auto payment, and pulled my credit report. Then I called the dealership. "Hi," I said. "I believe a car was purchased in my name without my permission." The rep went silent, then asked, "Is your name Kevin?" I said yes. He exhaled. "I had a feeling you'd call." His voice carried that professional calm, but the undertone said it all. He knew, not the full story, but he'd seen this kind of mess before, cloaked in family ties. "You're listed as the owner," he added. I didn't respond immediately, just stared at the folder Grandma had slid across like a guilty verdict. I hadn't slept. My hands didn't tremble, my jaw didn't lock. But everything inside me sharpened to a point. I didn't want apologies. I wanted control, and I was done staying silent. "You'll be retrieving the car tonight?" I said. Pause. "Yes, sir." "I'll start the repossession process now." I hung up and opened my laptop. For the next 7 hours, I became what they feared most: the quiet one who finally spoke. Phase 1. Setting boundaries. First, the accounts. Streaming services canceled, all profiles wiped, even the family favorites, one with Grandma's soap opera, saved. Music subscriptions downgraded to free. 5 people discovering what ads feel like. Online shopping memberships revoked. No more free delivery for gifts they never sent me. Password manager reset. Every shared login gone. Smart home system, I'd installed it, I dismantled it. Thermostat locked. Cameras offline. Wi-Fi disconnected from my business hub. Cloud storage terminated. Shared photos, documents, files gone into the void they thought was theirs forever. My phone lit up within hours. Mom. "Hey, the Wi-Fi's down." Dad. "Did the thermostat glitch?" Sister. "Why's the camera app saying access denied?" I didn't reply. I was just beginning. Phase 2. Financial disentanglement. Their mortgage? I was a cosigner. "Just temporary," they'd said, "until we're stable." They never stabilized, because why would they when I was the safety net? I logged into the lender's portal and started the process to remove my name. It triggered an automatic review. The bank called within an hour. "They may not qualify without you," the rep said. "Good," I replied. The rep didn't push back. 2 days later, the bank sent an updated loan estimate. Their payments would nearly double without me. Refinance or lose the house. I didn't warn them. Let them open that email over coffee. Let them dial my number when the safety net vanished. Phase 3. Asset review. I dug deeper, beyond subscriptions and bills. I found the lease on the storage unit I paid for, holding half the family's keepsakes. I found the business insurance for their home office, in my name. I found the hosting for the family photo site they used every holiday. I canceled it. I pulled up the domain for my dad's small tax business. Guess who paid the renewals for 6 years? I transferred it to a private registrar and locked it. Then I called the accounting software provider and revoked their license. Their tax files? Inaccessible. Auto renewal? Canceled. I wasn't taking anything. I was reclaiming it. Phase 4. System lockdown. When I launched my tech company, a full-stack IT and infrastructure firm, I gave them access to the same tools my corporate clients used. Network security, optimization, encrypted backups. They thought it was just a favor. They never read the fine print. I logged into the back end and reclassified their accounts, my parents' business and my uncle's practice. From family, free access, to terminated. The system queued a full shutdown. I left a note on their dashboards. This infrastructure was provided free since 2016. Effective immediately, all services are revoked. No emotion, no heads up, just a digital cutoff. By 6:12 p.m., my uncle left a voicemail, half bewildered, half frantic. "We can't log in. Our data's gone. Were you hacked? Call me now." I didn't. At 6:45, a text from my dad. "You've crossed a line. This isn't about the car. No, it wasn't. It never was." Phase 5. Calculated disclosure. I kept the screenshots, the dealership forms with my forged signature, the loan approval, Grandma's folder. I compiled them into a PDF, time-stamped, organized, undeniable. Then I sent it to 3 people: the family's accountant, a fraud investigator from a past client, and my attorney. By 9 p.m., a plan was in motion. The car, repossessed. The fraud, reported. My financial ties, cut. Their systems, offline. Their secrets, documented. And the final strike, silence. I didn't yell, didn't post rants, didn't call, because silence wasn't surrender. It was judgment. By midnight, my phone had 112 missed calls, 13 from my sister, 21 from my dad, 2 voicemails from Grandma, 1 tearful, 1 furious. I didn't listen. I knew their script. You're destroying this family. Number. They were destroying it. I just stopped holding it together. They didn't call to apologize. They never did. They called to control, to manipulate, to remind me I was one of them, despite everything. The night the car was repossessed, my phone buzzed like a war zone. My sister texted first. They took the car. What did you do? Then my mom. Please call. We don't get why you're acting like this. Then my dad. This is immature. You're embarrassing yourself. I didn't respond. They weren't confused. They'd overplayed their hand, and they hated it. At 2:36 a.m., another call. My sister sobbing. They're talking about charges. I didn't know they'd take it. I thought you'd fix it. I ended the call without a word, because that was the heart of it. They never thought my actions had weight, teeth, they believed they could take from me. Lieutenant, forge, and fake, and I'd just patch it up, like always. Not this time. By morning, their desperation turned darker. My aunt posted on social media. It's painful when family betrays you. But the truth will come out. We have proof. Proof. That's what they called the forged documents, false accounts, a debt trail pinned on me. I didn't respond. I let the silence speak louder than words ever could. But then the texts turned to slander. You always craved attention. You got it now. You ruined your sister's life over a mistake. We supported you when no one else did. This isn't justice, it's spite. They tried every tactic, guilt, shame, manipulation, even pity, every lever except the one that mattered, accountability. When that failed, they showed up at my door, unannounced, no call, just banging fists and loud voices outside my apartment. Talk to us. You're still our son. Then my dad. You'll regret this. You always come back. I didn't open the door, didn't even approach it. They weren't here to fix things. They were here to reclaim control, to restore the dynamic where I stayed silent and they stayed comfortable. That night, my mom emailed. Subject, you've made your point. The message read, we're getting a lawyer. This wasn't fraud, it was family. If you keep harassing us, we'll take action. They thought they could rewrite the narrative. That reporting their fraud made me the villain. I didn't reply. Instead, I did something worse. I sat with it. Let them feel the void, the absence of the problem solver, the gap where the dependable one stopped answering. And it worked. The next day, the tone shifted. Please talk to us. You've made your point. We're falling apart. We didn't think it would go this far. Then my sister. I didn't know what they were doing. I thought you'd be fine. But she knew. They all did. They banked on my silence. And when they lost it, they lost their cover. I met with my attorney that week, showed him everything. The dealership contract, the forged papers, the call logs, the screenshots. Do you want to press charges? He asked. No, I said. Just prepare everything, in case they do. Smart, he said. They won't see it coming. He was right, because they always expected compliance. A sigh, a nod, a quiet, it's okay. Not this time. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't cutting them off with a grand exit. I was doing something quieter. I was letting their world unravel on its own. That weekend, my sister texted again. One line, are you done? Because I'm losing everything. I stared at it for a long time, typed, number, then deleted it. Not because I wavered, but because I realized something more devastating than any response. I had nothing left to say. It wasn't revenge. It was accountability. And it was final. I didn't plan to go public. At first, silence felt sharper, cleaner, more precise. But then they started talking. Not just in texts, not just in whispers. They went public first. My sister posted on social media a dimly lit selfie, tear-streaked makeup, caption, it hurts when the ones you thought were forever become your lesson. Thankful for those still here. Hundreds of likes in hours, comments full of sympathy, friends tagging each other, family reposting it like scripture, and I saw the narrative forming. That I was the unstable one, the dramatic one, the bitter brother who flipped out and ruined everything, the guy who took back a car like it was a game and left his sister stranded, who killed the home Wi-Fi, canceled streaming, and held the family hostage over a misunderstanding. I read the comments. You don't deserve this. Some people just want power. Cutting toxic people is tough but necessary. No one knew the truth. No one asked. And I realized, if I didn't speak soon, they'd own the story. Rewrite it in their favor. So I built the truth. Not a tirade. Not a breakdown. A file. screenshots.contracts, call logs, the dealership approval with my forged signature, the financial records from Grandma's folder, group chat captures, the bank email confirming my name was misused, all of it, verified, time-stamped, .truth. Then I wrote the post, not on social media, not on a public platform, on LinkedIn, where it mattered, where people knew me as steady, competent, composed. The headline, "When Family Crosses Boundaries, a warning on financial exploitation and identity theft." Then I laid out the story, not emotionally, factually, how my name was used for a $12,000 loan I didn't approve, how the car was gifted to someone else, how the response wasn't remorse, but defamation. I didn't name names, but those who needed to know understood. By day's end, it had over 30,000 views. Then came the messages, not from strangers, from people I hadn't spoken to in years, old colleagues, classmates, even a cousin I hadn't seen since high school. "Thank you for speaking up. I thought I was alone." By day 2, my inbox overflowed, not just with support, with stories. My dad used my name for a loan. My brother took out a card in my name, still blames me. They called it helping. I called it theft. I hadn't started a movement, but I'd struck a chord and my family noticed. Quickly, my mom called 11 times in one night. No voicemails, just silent calls. My dad emailed. Subject, remove it. The message, "You're humiliating everyone. If you think airing private matters online makes you strong, you're mistaken. Take it down or there will be consequences." He signed it formally, like a stranger. I didn't reply. I pinned the post. Then I sent the PDF, the one with every piece of evidence, to their accountant. In case they tried to claim the car on their taxes, I included a note. For audit purposes, I did not authorize this purchase. Fraud reported. Documentation attached. No emotion, just protection. That night, my cousin Ellie called. "I saw everything," she said, voice trembling. Then she added, "They're saying you're dangerous, that you're out to destroy the family." I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was predictable. That's what happens when the scapegoat sheds the role. But Ellie wasn't done. "They had a meeting," she whispered. "Grandma, Uncle Ray, Mom, everyone. They shared fake messages, ones you didn't send." I paused. "You're sure?" "I saw one. It said you were planning to sue everyone, that you were building a fund to take us down." I thanked her, made another copy of the PDF, labeled it, prepared response, reputation defense. Then I emailed everything to my attorney. The documents, the LinkedIn post, the slander, the screenshots Ellie sent from the meeting. He replied in 10 minutes. "Let's talk Monday, but this is enough for defamation, fraud, and a civil suit." I didn't want a lawsuit, but I wanted to be ready, because real power isn't what you say, it's what you can prove. By the next morning, their facade cracked. Uncle Ray messaged, "Take the post down. You're shaming your parents. Grandma, you should be ashamed for dragging us online." My sister, "I hope it was worth it." For the first time, I replied, "It wasn't worth it. It was necessary." Then I blocked her. Not out of spite, out of peace. Because when someone steals your trust, you don't owe them closure. You owe yourself freedom. I hadn't gone public for vengeance, I'd gone public to breathe. And when I closed my laptop that night, it hit me. They weren't angry because I lied. They were livid because I told the truth, publicly. And now everyone saw them unmasked. They didn't ask for forgiveness. They demanded access. They didn't come to reconcile. They came to reclaim what they thought they owned. Me. It was a Sunday, too quiet. I was sipping coffee, window open, reading messages of support from strangers and old friends who finally saw me for me. Not the bitter one, not the troublemaker, but the survivor who stopped surviving and started living. Then the doorbell rang. I knew before I looked. Mom, Dad, my sister, a few steps back, sunglasses on like loss was a trend. They stood there like they were selling salvation. My mom held a box. I didn't ask what was inside. My dad spoke first. "We just want to talk." I didn't respond. My mom offered the box like a truce. "It's everything. The receipts, the car title, the account closures. We're fixing it." I let them speak. Let them say the words they thought would mend things. That I was always loved. That they didn't know I felt this way. That they were stressed. That they panicked. That they didn't mean it. But there's something raw when people realize they've lost control. They pretend they never wanted it. My sister stayed silent until the end. Then, predictably, she said, "We were a family before all this. All this." She meant the truth, my boundaries. The moment I stopped funding her comfort, I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, not to welcome them, but to end it there. I looked at my dad. "You didn't lose a car. You lost the right to ask. To my mom. You didn't lose a son. You lost your safety net. To my sister. I had to redefine what I could give. They stood there, waiting for me to crack, to falter, to say, "But you're still family?" I didn't. I said, "There's no going back. Not because I hate you, because I finally value myself too much to return to that trap." My mom whispered, "So this is it?" I nodded. No speech, no dramatic farewell, just this. My dad looked at me like I was a stranger, and for the first time, he was right. He didn't know the person standing there, because the one he knew would have paid for dinner after this, would have apologized for the tension, would have offered to drive them home. I wasn't that person anymore. They left without a word, no threats, no tears, just the sound of their car door closing. I didn't watch them drive off, didn't wait for a second knock. I went back inside, sat at the table, finished my coffee, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I didn't owe anyone anything.